Welcome Trinidad and Tobago to a News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Joseph Lopez. Let's take a look at our headlines. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs recognizes foreign service diplomats at an award ceremony and announces the establishment of a diplomatic academy by year's end. Ministry of Gender, Youth and Child Development supports the multidisciplinary approach in treating with deviant school children. And former MAT president during the attempted 1990 coup calls for special recognition of journalists by the state. Welcome. The nation's children are the cornerstone of this great country, and acts of violence among them are symptoms of a wider problem plaguing our society. This statement from Government Minister Clifton Dikoto and Razia Ahmed. Both ministers say they completely support the Ministry of Education's multidisciplinary approach in treating with recent incidents involving school children.
The spate of violence sweeping the nation's schools, the Honourable Clifton Dikoto, the Minister of Gender, Youth and Child Development, and the Minister of State in that very ministry, the Honourable Razia Ahmed, both say they are saddened by these reports of violence. The ministers say they recognize that these acts of violence are symptoms of a wider problem plaguing the nation. In a media release, the ministry noted that it fully supported the Ministry of Education's multidisciplinary approach in treating with these critical issues. Both ministers Dikoto and Ahmed stated that they acknowledged the need for remedial restorative action, which includes appropriate intervention and support geared towards improved behavior. They urge parents, guardians, teachers, community members and civil society organizations to work with these children to discover the genesis of this type of negative behavior and to play a more active role in finding solutions to these issues. The ministry also noted that it has started several initiatives through its National Family Services Division, NFSD, and Youth Affairs Division to mitigate these violent occurrences and provide the necessary support to children and their families. The NFSD has a people-centered mission which is to promote healthy family functioning through the provision of developmental, preventative and remedial programs and services, namely family counseling, mediation and outreach to communities across Trinidad and Tobago. Felicia Wilson-Mon, News 4.
The head of the Media Association of Trinidad and Tobago at the time of the 1990 attempted coup is praising the journalists who performed exemplary roles during this ordeal. The praise comes from media veteran Andy Johnson, as the commission which led the inquiry into the 1990 event calls for special recognition of the journalists by the state.
With World Press Freedom Day just about 1 month away, former president of the Media Association of Trinidad and Tobago, Andy Johnson, is calling on the organization to pay tribute to the journalists notably mentioned in the Commission of Inquiry report into the 1990 attempted coup.
Today, I call upon the Media Association of Trinidad and Tobago to take the recognition accorded by the Simmons Commission and use it to pay its own tribute to those men and women of our profession when the world celebrates World Press Freedom Day in just over a month's time. I commit to assisting in any such effort.
Mr. Johnson makes the call in light of criticisms made when the Media Association in 1991 accepted the Shakonia Medal Gold in the category of communication for the role of the media in the attempted coup. The veteran journalist says the Commission of Inquiry report now vindicates the decision to give the Media Association the national award. He says the recognition is even more important as journalists put themselves in danger and sought to inform the nation and by extension the world of what was happening during the 1990 attempted coup.
Members of the Media Association the executive felt that I should have canvassed the views of other members before accepting the award on their behalf, on behalf of those journalists. Men and women who put their lives at stake, threw caution to the wind and did their jobs, performed their duties with a single goal in mind, and that goal was to keep the public of Trinidad and Tobago and the world informed about what was taking place with the vilest assault to date on our democracy. Kamini Maraj, embedded with members of the Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force at the time, but she spent days and nights on top from a vantage point on top of the Hall of Justice, looking on at the Red House as what was going on there. Gail Alexander braved all kinds of dangerous possibilities to keep doing the reporting for The Guardian. And Della and Stewart's pictures told the stories about what was being captured in downtown Port-of-Spain on those critical 6 or 7 days that rendered Port-of-Spain as a war zone.
Mr. Johnson says he plans to recall the exploits of local media and journalists when he attends the World Congress of the International Press Institute next month. The Congress will take place in Johannesburg, South Africa from April 12th to 15th. Gregory McBurney, News 4.
February 3, 2014 marked the 50th anniversary of diplomatic relations between the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago and the Republic of Chile. A release from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs says over the past 50 years, the two countries enjoyed an excellent bilateral relationship, and the engagement between the two republics have steadily expanded to include discussion and cooperation on a broad range of global issues. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs says high-level engagements between government officials from Trinidad and Tobago and Chile with the purpose of deepening relations have been both frequent and fruitful. On his last official visit to Chile last September, Minister of Foreign Affairs Winston Ducuran held bilateral consultations with the Foreign Minister of Chile. This visit contributed to the significant cooperation agenda that currently exists with both countries, working together in fields such as seismic research, language learning, diplomacy, finance, and gender issues, the news release said. Trinidad and Tobago's relationship with Chile remains an extremely important one. Our two countries share similar perspectives on many global issues, resulting in positive and mutually beneficial engagement in bilateral and multilateral fora such as the Organization of American States, OAS, the United Nations, UN, and the Community of Latin American and Caribbean States. The news release further stated, as a fitting commemoration of the 50 years of friendship between the two countries, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is pleased to lend its support to the Embassy of Chile as it plans to host a cultural event mid-year. It says this event will be an opportunity to demonstrate the importance Trinidad and Tobago places on the relations between our two countries as we celebrate how far we have come together. The ministry anticipates this event with great interest and looks forward to the deepening of the current collaborative efforts between our countries and the further strengthening of ties that bind our countries. This milestone is just the beginning as Trinidad and Tobago and Chile prepare for a promising future in the development of the relations between our two nations. We take a break. When we come back, more news. Thank you for staying with us. A diplomatic academy will soon be opened to train the future diplomats in matters of economics, law, languages, negotiations, and all other areas crucial to efficient diplomacy. This was revealed by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Honorable Winston Ducuran, while speaking at a Ministry of Foreign Affairs award ceremony.
Members of Trinidad and Tobago's diplomatic community have been honored for their contribution to establishing what Foreign Affairs Minister, the Honorable Winston Ducuran, describes as a well-respected worldwide diplomatic presence. The accolades were given as the Ministry of Foreign Affairs held its annual awards ceremony recently at the Hyatt Regency in Port-of-Spain. Addressing the awardees, Minister Ducuran praises them for their decision to place serving their country above everything else.
Public service is indeed a noble challenge, and I applaud all those who select that as a career. For I know, in terms of the alternatives, it does not allow you to have the level of compensation. But I do know there's an inner satisfaction in public service, that you serve the common good, that you serve what is indeed the aspirations of our people, that you serve that intangible benefit that the nation so badly wants and desires. And I therefore applaud you in your capacity as public servants but more so in your capacity as Foreign Service officers. For in so doing, you embark on a territory that is sometimes rather difficult.
He adds that their contribution is immeasurable.
So for all of you who have been honored here today, you have brought great credit to our nation and to our people, and it is highly recognized wherever we go today. So I say to you, my sincere congratulations on the discharge of diplomatic endeavors on the part of Trinidad and Tobago that have made us all proud over the years.
The Foreign Affairs Minister urges the diplomats to continue to adhere to the standards of excellence which have made this country's diplomatic workforce stand out.
Those who are being honored here and the awards that have been given for your achievement is the result of your commitment to public service and your steadfast resolution to ensure that Trinidad and Tobago has the highest standards of excellence in the conduct of diplomacy worldwide.
Minister Dukaran reveals the diplomats' hard work has not gone unnoticed. He explains their plans to ensure that the good international relations which they've built over the years will continue, despite young, inexperienced persons entering the diplomatic service. This, he says, will be done through the establishment of a diplomatic academy, which will be launched within the next 2 months.
It is therefore an opportunity to bring about an awareness of the issues in the practice of diplomacy. For the practice of diplomacy is where the focus will now be. And in that sense, the establishment of the Diplomatic Academy here in Trinidad and Tobago, which will be formally opened on May the 6th of this year, is in fact a tribute to your work, to your efforts, to your accomplishment, to what you have done in the past, and that is inheritance that you shall be given to the next generation of diplomats in the Caribbean and in Trinidad and Tobago.
The Academy will be launched and operated in conjunction with the University of the West Indies and the Institute for International Relations. Gregory McBurney, News 4.
The sun-turning ceremony to commence the start of construction of the new Meteorological Services building for Tobago took place recently. This as Cabinet earlier agreed to the construction of the new Met Services building for Tobago. This significant project will deliver improved weather monitoring services to Tobago and provide greater benefits to Trinidad and Tobago on a whole. Here's more in this report.
The new Tobago Met Service facility in Crown Point will include a 2-story reinforced concrete structure with an observation deck complete with instrument closures, a main administration building, a guard booth and a car park, many of which the current building does not accommodate. The structure would also help to facilitate more operating space to allow more staff, which by extension would foster a fully operational 24-hour rotation. During his feature address, the Minister of Tobago Development related to past weather occurrences on the island and some of the unfortunate outcomes. He expressed the essential role the new facility will play during disasters in the area of data collection for the island of Tobago. The minister said the environmentally friendly and low-maintenance structure would not only assist the island of Tobago, but the wider region.
The station is as essential, I'm advised, to Trinidad and the wider region as it is to the island of Tobago, since this station provides redundancy in the event of an adverse occurrence in the facility in Trinidad.
One of the senior Met professionals based in Tobago, David Gajada, expressed his eagerness for the new building, as he says it was since 2002 the need to relocate and expand was recognized. He further emphasized the importance of the new building and the contribution it would make to Tobago.
We have to look at the global picture and the contribution of the meteorological services to aviation, maritime activities, agriculture, hydrology, tourism, climate studies, and also the provision of timely weather forecasts and observations in disaster preparedness.
Meanwhile, NIPDEC Chairman Hamlin Jailal said that although this is his first project as head of the state agency NIPDEC is no stranger to Tobago with projects like the Magistrates Court and Mason Hall Secondary School as well as the Shore Park Cultural Complex, which is still on the way. He said the contractor Adams Project Management and Construction Limited was the right company for the job in more ways than one and informed the Minister of Tobago Development that APMC Limited will get the building done before deadline.
He gave me the assurance that this project will not be completed in 15 months, but in 12 months. Mr. Minister, I know you'll be thrilled to hear that already the contractor has hired 10 locals, 10 people from right here in Tobago. And he has given me the further assurance that at least he will hire another 20 locals on this project. At the height of construction, he expects roughly 80 people to be employed.
According to Mr. Jailal, NIPDEC's effective management of the project will ensure that they monitor the contractor on a daily basis and make sure they meet their benchmarks for completing the project on time and within budget. The construction of the building started the day after the sod-turning ceremony with high hopes for a successful completion and, as the minister echoed, to further secure the lives and livelihood of Tobagonians.
We cannot prevent extreme weather patterns, but we can certainly equip our professionals to better detect those events so that we can plan for them.
Reporting from Tobago, Natoya Johnson, News 4.
Thank you, Latoya. We take a break. Sports is on the other side. Welcome back. West Indies continued their defense of the World T20 Cricket Champions with a 73-run win over Bangladesh. Bangladesh won the toss and chose to field while Chris Gayle and Dwayne Smith opened the batting. The openers devastated the Bangladesh bowling. Smith hit his highest T20 international score of 72 off 43 balls, while Gayle fell short of a half-century but still managed to run a ball, smashing 48 off 48 balls. With the dismissal of Smith and Gayle, the Windies crumbled, 4 of the remaining batsmen losing their wicket for duck as the team crawled to 171 for 7 after 20 overs. Samuel Badri and Krishma Santoki muted Bangladesh's response and sent their 3 most dangerous batsmen back to the stands within the first 4 overs. Bangladesh was crippled and eventually was all out for just 96 runs in the 19.1 overs. Santoki at the end of the play found himself with 3 wickets for 17 runs. Badri ended the innings with figures of 4 for 15, his best in the T20 internationals and also West Indies' best in the World T20. The West Indies' next game is against Australia this coming Friday at Dhaka. Well, that's it for sport. When we come back, we'll tell you how Trinidad and Tobago is becoming the #1 destination. Welcome back. Trinidad and Tobago is now becoming a premier vacation destination due to its diverse attractions, and this must continue to be nurtured. So says Minister of Tourism, the Honorable Chandresh Sharma, while delivering the featured address at the launch of the 2014 Tobago Fashion Coda.
Tourism Minister Chandresh Sharma praises the country's diverse tourism sector as Tobago Fashion Coda 2014 unveils its plans for this year's event. Fashion Coda runs parallel to the Tobago Jazz Festival and highlights the best in Trinidad and Tobago fashion, food and entertainment. Addressing those gathered for the launch, Minister Sharma says TNT earns approximately $3 billion in tourism revenue, all thanks to the diverse attractions available.
Last year, Trinidad and Tobago attracted 434,000 international visitors. The United Nations World Trade Organization suggests that we use a $1,100 US spend per person. We use a $1,000. We always try to be on the saving side, which means 434,000 by 1,000 US is $3 billion. That's what the visitor tourism is bringing into the country. In that, a number of things play very importantly. Food, fashion, shopping, site visits, and the list goes on. Trinidad and Tobago is becoming one of the preferred destinations for tourist arrival, simply because we offer so many different things.
The tourism minister says there is something here for every type of tourist.
The Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago offers the widest variety of food. And the easiest way to capture it in your mind, if you think about an Indian bandara, you've been to Indian feast, right? There were 40 dishes there. And side by side, if you think about Chinese bandara, an African bandara, and a Spanish, and the list goes on, think of the number of food items. In terms of fashion, we are one of the few Twin Island Republic that has the variety of fashions. European wear, Indian wear, African wear, Chinese wear, and sometimes no wear. But I mean, that's besides the point. And it goes on. We have the oldest rainforest in the world. And there's a huge following now to see birds, butterflies, and people want to see natural green tourism. And we offer that.
Minister Sharma is calling on Trinbagonians to support the growth of fashion throughout the islands by supporting the event. He reminds persons that support doesn't only come in the way of financial support, but also nurturing the future and getting young persons involved, sometimes indirectly.
We can see the desire for more people to visit and the need for events of this kind to capture more attention and to capture more support. And support is not just financial. It's encouraging people, encouraging the young persons to mother. In fact, a few minutes ago we met Form 3 kids from Princestown coming to find out what career opportunities there are in tourism.
So intent is the tourism minister on supporting the event, he is even offering his own services to do what he can to attract a greater crowd.
Start booking your places, because we must lend support to this. I would be prepared to do some modeling too. I think that might add to about another 20,000.
This year's Tobago Fashion Coda is themed Tobago Love. The premium all-inclusive event will showcase the best in fashion with works from designers such as P.T. Elias, Eclipse Eli, Claudia Pegas and Heather Jones on show. The Ministry of Tourism and the Tobago House of Assembly have both partnered with the event's organizers to also highlight our musical geniuses, including pianist extraordinaire Ken Professor Fillmore and the Calypso King of the World, the Mighty Sparrow. Gregory McBurney, News 4.
And that story brings us to the end of our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Joseph Lopez. Thank you for watching.